everybody, and welcome to Crowd Church. It is my pleasure and privilege to be your host this afternoon. And I'm on my own, flying solo, so no Matt Edmondson to take the mickey out of today, but don't worry, he's doing the talk, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for that later on. So really want to give you a warm welcome. Hope you feel welcome today. Crowd Church is a fabulous online church for perhaps Christians, or if you're not a Christian, maybe you're looking for answers to questions, maybe you're wanting to find out about how to live that meaningful life, then Crowd Church is for you. Just before we get started, I just want to mention about a member of Frontline. We're also part of Frontline Church based in Liverpool, and a member of our church called Tommy, who died this week. So just want to acknowledge that and say that our love and prayers go out to Tommy's family. He was a fabulous guy, really friendly, a kind word for everyone, and he'll be remembered really, really fondly. So didn't want to carry on without mentioning that this morning. So, or this afternoon even, I don't even know what time of day it is, and there isn't even Matt here to correct me. Maybe that's a good thing. It's lovely to see you all on the comments. I can see lots of people have already commented, so that's brilliant. Thank you so much. I need that little encouragement this afternoon. So it's lovely to see, so many people, Mark and Matt and Jenny and even Trev, people from all over the country and all over the world joining us this afternoon. You are really, really welcome. Now, you can get in touch with us in lots of different ways. There is, of course, the Facebook messages that you're sending us now, or on YouTube. And we should have, hopefully magically appearing, a WhatsApp number somewhere on the screen any second now. Let's see if our technical specialist is working. Oh, there we go. Good job. Thank you. So there's the WhatsApp number. So if you want to get in touch with us at all, then please use that, or, join along with us in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And of course, if you want any prayer, or if we can help you in any way, then you can contact us as well via that WhatsApp number or via our website. Okay, so I need to tell you what is actually happening in Crowd Church this afternoon. Well, as I said before, we've got the brilliant Matt Edmondson doing the talk in just a little while. We've also got some worship today, one of my favourite worship songs, so that's something really to look forward to later. And Matt and I will be having a little chat about the talk and drawing out a little bit more afterwards, a bit later on. And we've got our catch up. Josh has put together our brilliant catch up as usual, and then we'll have a little bit more worship at the end. So let's just have a little look. Oh yes, Matt has just mentioned that there's some weird thing in Facebook at the top of the title that linking us to Amazon, but don't worry, we are nothing to do with Amazon. That's just a Facebook mistake, so we do apologise for that. But yeah, nothing at all to worry about there. So who have we got joining us this afternoon? We've got a few more people there saying hello. Hello, Sharon. Hello, Jenny. Love to see you. Lovely to see you all this afternoon. So as I mentioned before, Matt is doing the talk, and his title for the talk this afternoon is called The Big Picture. Now, I do have to give a little warning here. If there are small children in the room or people that are very sensitive, you might find the very beginning of Matt's talk a little bit disturbing, and you'll see why when we go over and join Matt for his talk in a minute. But please don't be alarmed. It is just Matt Edmondson, so there's no need to be worried. And so let's do that right now, shall we? Let's go across to Matt and hear what he's got to share with us today. Take it away, Matt.
So today we are going to look at this idea of zooming out. The idea of needing to take a step back and to see the bigger picture. Oh yes, we're going to get into that today. So let me set the scene from today's passage in Mark's Gospel. Okay, Jesus is in the temple. He's chatting with the crowd. There's a large crowd around him that he's chatting with when he asks the Pharisees a question. Okay, now the Pharisees, if you've been in some of our previous broadcasts, you'll remember, are some of like the key religious leaders of the day. Okay, they were not friends of Jesus. They were slightly hostile towards him, but they were just a small part of the crowd. The majority of the crowd, as we're going to see a little bit later, was really enjoying Jesus at this point in time and the conversation, right? I think they were enjoying the banter as well, if I'm honest with you, because, you know, that's what I would do. So what did Jesus ask the Pharisees, right? He's in the temple, there's a large crowd, and he asks them a question. What was the question he asked them? Well, to answer this, we are going to have to look at Matthew's gospel, okay? And in Matthew's gospel, where he accounts this story, in chapter 22, verse 41, Jesus asks, "What do you think about the Christ? Whose son is he?" They, the Pharisees, said to him, "The son of David." Okay, so this is the question. Now, the irony is not lost on me here, because if we were to just look at the story in Mark's gospel, we would miss this particular detail, right? Mark doesn't record the question that Jesus asked the Pharisees, this initial question. So by taking a step back, by zooming out and seeing the bigger picture, by looking at both accounts of the story and not just focusing in on the details of one, we get a deeper understanding of what's happening. I do wonder, you know, if God engineered it this way just so we could understand this lesson of zooming out today. I don't know. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying the irony of it is not lost on me. Okay. So this idea of zooming out and getting the bigger picture is something that I think we all need to take account of. You know, detectives use it, don't they? When they go to a crime scene, they don't just ask one person. They look for as many eyewitnesses as possible so they can get a better understanding of what happens, right? They zoom out. The account of just one person can be quite biased. They want more data, more information. They zoom out. And that's the power of this thing. And actually, when we look, for example, at the evidence of Christianity, if we take the approach of a detective, we will see that there were a lot of witnesses to the life and resurrection of Christ, probably more so than any other historical figure. It's one of the things I love about my Christian faith, that yes, it is about personal belief and my personal experience and relationship with God. But much more than that, it stands up to scrutiny. You know, my mind is as engaged as my heart is with my faith. It's not, I don't have to switch my mind off because it all doesn't make sense. Oh, no. There is evidence there, you know, when we're willing to search for it. And by zooming out and seeing the bigger picture, we can find it. So Jesus asked them, "What do you think about the Christ?" Now, this for me is such a great question. What do you think about the Christ? Now, do you, watching this live stream, have any thoughts on this matter? Do you have an opinion? Where are you at right now with this idea of Jesus being the Christ? Now, we covered this idea of the Christ much more in a talk we did back in May called Jesus Asks, Who Do You Say I Am? It's a question that Jesus asked Peter, one of his disciples, and this sort of conversation happens. And in that talk, we looked at what does this word Christ mean? Because we talked about how Christ is not Jesus's last name. It's important to realize this, right? That Christ is in fact his title. It means Messiah, the chosen one, the anointed one. And so we have to sort of understand, well, what was Jesus chose to do and what was he anointed to do? And we talked about how he is good news to the poor. He is freedom for those in prison. He heals the blind and sets free those that are oppressed and proclaims God's blessing on all of us, right? And it's an amazing thing when we start to understand what Christ means, that the Christ brings to humanity true freedom. I mean, real freedom, not the pretend nonsense that we sometimes mistake for it, but real, true freedom. And that means having the ability to choose our fate, to choose whether or not we journey with Christ, and to choose whether or not we live out the meaningful life that he has for us. But what do you think about that? What do you think about Jesus being the Christ? Now, I appreciate I'm pushing here a little bit. I'm asking you the question a lot, but you know what? That's okay. I'm okay with that because, this is church after all. And where else could we talk about this? We want church, certainly Crowd Church. We want Crowd Church to be a safe space for you and I to explore the Christian faith, to ask those questions, to get into it. And part of that exploration, part of that exploring is knowing where we are right now at this particular point. Where am I at with Jesus? I mean, be totally honest with yourself. God can handle it. He's interested in what you think about him, not some kind of pretense, just genuinely, honestly, where are you at right now with your journey with Christ? So let me maybe phrase this question a little bit differently. Let's do this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being as far away from God as you could possibly get, to 10 being, I don't know, Apostle Paul kind of status. Do you know what I mean? So close to God that you've kind of written 2/3 of the New Testament. On that scale of 1 to 10, whereabouts are you on that scale? Just have a little think about that. There's no right answer. There is no wrong answer. There is only the truth, the answer. Be honest with yourself. Because maybe for some of you, you're at a 2 or a 3. You would definitely not call yourself a Christian. You've kind of tuned into this because you came across it on Facebook or YouTube, or you've been coming along for a few weeks and you're a little bit intrigued, right? You have this sort of base level of intrigue about Jesus. Who was he? Why are these Christians so sure that Jesus is the Christ and all that sort of stuff? So you've got a little bit of intrigue, but you're still quite low on the scale. Or maybe you're a 7 or an 8 and have been a Christian for many, many years. I don't know where you are at. But what my goal here is, my hope for Crowd Church is that if you're at a 2, we can help you get to a 3, and then we can help you maybe get to a 4 in that journey. The same as if you're a 7, how can we help you get to an 8, right? That in effect is our vision. It's our mission in a nutshell right there. We are here to help you journey with Christ. Now, how do we do that? Well, we started off with the live streams, and we've been going with them for almost a year now. We're planning more content for the website. We're going to be starting midweek groups fairly soon, and there's a whole lot more in the pipeline, let me tell you, to help you at your various stages with your journey with Christ. But for now, the best advice I can give you, and can I encourage you to do so, is just keep coming back to the live stream. Just keep watching, keep asking your questions, keep thinking about this Jesus. Be inspired about him, right? I mean, do the usual stuff, subscribe and, like and all that sort of good stuff on Facebook and YouTube to stay in touch with what's going on. Because let me tell you, Jesus is definitely worth it. Yes, he is. So what do you think about the Christ? Jesus asked. But then he also asked, whose son is he? And they replied to him, the son of David. The son of David. What does that mean? Because, this is actually quite a popular way to describe Jesus in the New Testament. Well, basically, it is a messianic title. So when people referred to Jesus as the son of David, they meant that he was the long-awaited deliverer, the fulfillment of all of these Old Testament prophecies. In effect, that he is the Messiah, the Christ. And that ties in with Jesus' question. Why do the religious leaders, let me read this properly. Why do the teachers of religious law claim that Messiah is the son of David? So Jesus here is acknowledging it, but it's important to understand that he's not challenging this title. But what he is challenging is that he is only the son of David. Because you see, if Jesus was only the son of David, then he was only ever going to be human. And that's what he points out with his answer, right? And it's this detail that Jesus wants his listeners in the crowd to zoom out from, right? Just to take a step back. They were focused in, the Pharisees were focused in on this one specific idea that he had to be the son of David. But as a result, they were missing a much bigger picture about Jesus, right? That Jesus is much more than just the son of David, that he is much more than just a man. He is much more than a good man or a holy man. And Jesus points this out. How can the Messiah just be the son of David when even David called the Messiah Lord? That was his response. That's what he asked them. Okay, if I translate that into modern day vernacular, it's like, guys, listen, zoom out. Look at the bigger picture here. Stop just focusing in on this one detail because it doesn't make sense to do so. Zoom out, see the bigger picture, and put all of this in context. So what were they missing about Jesus? What were they not zooming out for? Well, Jesus asked them two questions, doesn't he? He says, what do you think about the Christ? And the second one is, whose son is he? And it is this question that they are missing out on, right? You see, right at the beginning of our study in Mark's Gospel, I mean, right back, way back, back in chapter 1, verse 1, Mark says this, the beginning of the good news about Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. And this is the point that Mark is trying to make throughout the whole Gospel of Mark, that Jesus is in fact the Son of God. Now, yes, Jesus, he is the Son of David. That's his messianic title, but he's more than that. Jesus is the Christ. He's the Messiah, but he is also the Son of God. And it's a huge and bold claim. It's a massive, bigger picture that Jesus is asking us to zoom out and see, as I'm sure you would agree. Jesus being the Son of God is a claim that is central to the Christian faith and has probably been one of the most misunderstood and debated propositions in the last 2,000 years. So the Bible, when referring to Jesus as the Son of God, it's talking about Jesus and his divinity, the divinity of God. And for that, we have to get into the Trinity, this idea of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And this is, again, let's zoom out. I mean, this is massive zoom out, isn't it? Because to see Jesus without seeing him in the context of the Trinity misses one of the key points of the New Testament. Now, John 3:16 is perhaps the most well-known verse in the Bible, and it tells us that God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. God so loved the world that he gave his Son, God's Son, part of that Trinity, part of himself. Now, to many people, this doesn't make sense, right? Because if God is great, he wouldn't come and get involved in the mess of humanity, would he? No. He just wouldn't do that. He certainly wouldn't die on a cross because that would be a huge sign of weakness. And God is great. He is not weak, okay? And so God would probably not do what the Christian faith would say that he did 2,000 years ago. And can I say, right, that if you are at the start of your Christian journey, if you're at that kind of 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've yet to make that sort of decision that actually, you're going to do this properly as a Christian, you're going to have a lifestyle of being a Christ follower on that Christ journey, you're going to have to wrestle with these two questions to get to that stage, right? And to be fair, the two questions you're going to have to constantly wrestle with. Is Jesus the Christ, and is he the Son of God? These are the two questions you have to find out the answers to, right? You see, Jesus as the Christ is the Messiah. He is the one that came to set people free. He was the one that came to break us free from the oppression and to bring the healing. But he did this as the Son of God. And this is important. He didn't do this as just a mere human. He did this as someone who was fully human, but fully divine God at the same time. It's what the Bible calls a mystery for very good reason, right? Because it is a mystery. That yes, God is great and God is awesome and he is loving and he does actually get involved with humanity. He takes part in the pain and the suffering, not because he is weak, but on the contrary, because he is strong and strong in his love for mankind and humanity. That God loves you and he loves me and he loves the world so much that he did come, that he did get involved, that he did die, and that he did raise from the dead. And in that resurrection, for those that believe, as John said, there is a new start, a new hope, a new beginning, a meaningful life in him. I mean, this... It's amazing, isn't it, really? And the joy and the excitement in me when I think about it is insane. And I wish I could communicate that through the camera. I wish you could sense that and understand. And as we grow in our understanding of Jesus being the Christ and the Son of God, and that he came and died so that I could live, is just... whew. I mean, it's wow stuff, right? And that's why Mark tells us, after Jesus brings this issue up, right? He's asking the questions to the Pharisees and he's kind of correcting them. Zoom out, guys. See this in the bigger picture. It says the large crowd listened to him with great delight. Yeah, no kidding, right? Because this is stuff that they'd never heard before. Everybody just thought God was mad at them, that God didn't care, right? But they were delighted. The Christian faith is delightful. It isn't easy, but it is delightful. Jesus is delightful. Now, let's be real here, because not everybody that was listening to Jesus talking was delighted with what he was saying, right? I mean, we've mentioned about the Pharisees. They weren't fans of him. No. They had a few issues, Jesus and the Pharisees, and we're going to see later how some of the religious leaders plotted to kill him. And it's amazing to me how different people can listen to the same message and take different things out of it. It's why the police, going back to the detectives, they want to question multiple eyewitnesses, because as we see things and hear things, we pick things out of it. And somebody else over there will pick something else. And collectively, we get the whole picture. But when we just focus in on these one things, all we ever get is what we've taken out of it, right? And it's easy to do, isn't it? We can focus in just on these things. And it becomes our thing when we do. It's how we interpret the world. We do that with our own worldview, the lens in which we view life, in which we do interpret the world. We interpret what is said and done through our own political ideas, our own theology, our own life philosophy, our own experiences, and it becomes our thing. And it stops us zooming out and seeing the bigger picture. The truth that God in heaven came down and rescued mankind because of his great love for us. Boom, right there. I mean, mic drop moment. So my question is it time for you to start to zoom out and see the bigger picture? Are you too zoomed in on science, for example? I know many people are. I literally get emails every week from someone who will say to me something like, about this Christian thing, the science has disproved it all, hasn't it? Science has proven that there's no God. Now, let me be clear. I am a big fan of science, love the study of science. But if that's all you see, you miss the bigger picture. So if you zoom out just a little bit, then you will realize that if science has disproved God, then you would never, ever find a Christian scientist anywhere in the world. Yet the truth is, a disproportionate number of scientists are Christians. That faith is the very reason a lot of people study science. And when we zoom out, we see a different picture, a bigger picture. Or maybe you're the other way around. Maybe, you're the kind of person that thinks that science is from the devil and cannot be trusted. But the same argument applies, doesn't it? Is if that is true, then you could not say you could be a Christian and be a scientist. But we need to zoom out. We need to see the bigger picture. And when we do, Jesus can actually change your life. Absolutely, no doubt. Are you too zoomed in on your point of view, right? This is an ouch moment. So convinced that you are right that you cannot see the point of view of the person next to you. Zoom out and let God show you a bigger picture. Now, this was brought home to me recently. Just before recording this message, I was on a business call and actually I needed to zoom out. I was focused in too much on some detail. And actually, when we started to zoom out, see a bigger picture, man alive, did we have a fascinating conversation that could potentially be very, very fruitful for my company, right? The power of zooming out, not being so zoomed in on one particular idea or my own particular way of thinking, right? Are you too zoomed in on your lifestyle? I mean, you may have found a way to live that works for you and you're at the center of it. But when you zoom out, you see actually with your own eyes that maybe there's a little bit of selfishness there. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe you're so zoomed in on what other people think, on their lives, on their needs, on what they say about you, that you don't see a bigger picture about yourself. And maybe your body is screaming for you to rest and to be still and to pray, or maybe to exercise. But you're so zoomed in on doing stuff for other people, you don't see that. Are you so zoomed in on COVID that you are full of fear and anxiety? Is it time to stop? Zoom out and see the bigger picture of God's grace and his ability to cope with your concerns and worries and still have a plan for your life. I don't know, right? And if I'm honest, the truth is the last thing I want to do is try and go through some kind of horoscope list, some horoscope type approach to figure all this out. But I do want to know, what do you think, right? What's going on in your life at the moment? Where do you need to zoom out and see a bigger picture? Now, as we go into our time of worship, let me ask you, what about Jesus? What do you think about the Christ? Whose son is he? Two key questions, right? Do you need to zoom out and see a bigger picture about who Jesus really is?
Brilliant. Thank you, Matt. Lots of really, really good questions there. Lots and lots to think about. And we're going to go into a time of worship to give us some time actually really to unpack some of these ideas and to think about it. And this is one of my favorite worship songs. This is Reckless Love. And really, really think about the lyrics as you're listening or as you're singing along. There's one part that talks about leaving the 99. And that's actually talking about a story that Jesus told about a shepherd who leaves 99 sheep to go and find that one sheep that's lost. And Jesus is saying that, that's the person that's lost, that doesn't know God, that God is searching after, because that's how much he loves you, how much he loves us, and really talks about the overwhelming love of God in this song. As you're listening, just imagine that that's you that God has got that overwhelming love for. So we're going to go into this time of worship now, and then we'll join you back again afterwards.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. You're the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
Oh, thank you so much, John and Anna Grace Farrington, who put that together for us. It's just so beautiful and such incredible words. I always find it quite overwhelming to think about that love that God has for each and every one of us. Really brilliant. Nicola put in the comments about thinking about the cost it would have been for that shepherd to go and find that sheep. And that's absolutely right. You know, it's not at no cost that God does that. So thank you, Nicola, for that. And Mark put a sick tune. I'm not sure if Mark's maybe a bit old to be referring to it as a sick tune, but yeah, it is a really good one. So thanks again, guys, for that. Absolutely brilliant. Right. Okay. Let's get Matt back in, shall we? And we can have a little chat about his talk and ask some questions. If you've got any questions, then do stick them in the comments. Hi, Matt. It's good to have you back next to me.
Hey, Sal. This is more familiar territory for me right here.
It is. I've definitely missed you, Matt. I've missed being able to take the mickey out of you, but people have been doing it for me by the comments, so that's
yeah. To be fair, you definitely have been taking the mick. That's fine, you know. Okay. But it's really weird actually when I'm not sat next to you, being able to reply to that banter. So
good.
I'm just talking to myself,
loving the power. But then, but then Matt has all the power of the technology, so I've got to be careful, haven't I?
Apparently. I think you've done great, Sal. Good job. Well done.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for everyone for your encouraging comments. Really appreciate that. I forgot to even say my name right at the beginning, so sorry. I'm Sally Birch.
Allow me to introduce to you the very talented and beautiful Sally Birch, who's hosting the meeting today.
Sorry about that. Brilliant talk, Matt. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Sal.
Really good. Lots and lots to think about, and lots of questions for you. So I thought we'd crack straight on with that, if that's right with you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get in.
One of the questions I thought would be interesting to think about is, what do you think it is that stops people from doing that zooming out? What keeps people kind of focused on those things that stop us from getting the big picture?
I think it's a great question. I think for me, I can only talk from personal experience, right? For me, I think busyness is a real thing that stops me from zooming out. Do you know what I mean? That you just get your head down and you keep going and you keep going. And it's the relentless grind of life sometimes. And before you know it, you've not stopped or thought about anything, have you? You just kind of just keep going. And it's that, I think that busyness, that for me is one of the key things. And so I remember I was walking around the park this morning, because I can. I'm not in self-isolation anymore, which is a beautiful thing. I was walking around the park.
Good.
And I did like a little 5K walk around the park. You know what? It took a good 10, 15 minutes just for my brain to slow down. Do you know what I mean? Just for all the questions that my head's sort of processing at the moment, just to stop and just take that time to zoom out and go, God, you're awesome. Do you know what I mean? And just start that sort of that worship and that prayer. But it took a little while. I'm not going to lie. But for me, actually getting out and walking is one of the key ways that I can slowly undo. Do you know what I mean? Or slowly wind down the brain a little bit and get that space.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I think that's particularly hard at the moment, isn't it? When we're all, either on our own or with our families all the time, the sort of two extremes, really, isn't it? It's actually quite difficult to get that space to actually think these things through, or to have some time to actually contemplate the bigger ideas. And then when we're not in this position that we are at the moment, we're just constantly rushing from one thing to the other, without a break, really, to kind of think these things through. So it is important, isn't it, to kind of find that space wherever we can. Yeah,
it totally is. And I think this phrase head noise is a really interesting phrase for me, the noise that goes on in our head. And I don't know about you, Sal, but I've found over COVID and over lockdown, in some respects, I'm not as busy. I'm not technically driving to the office. I'm working from home. Do you know what I mean? And I think one of the things I've noticed under lockdown for me and people that I've seen is it becomes easy to fill the minutes where you're not doing anything with stuff, right? Whether that's social media or watching Netflix or whatever it is, because we like this going from one thing to the next. And so even if we have the space and the possibility, we fill it with other things. Do you know what I mean? And that other stuff, that entertainment side of things. And so that, again, I don't know, maybe this is just me that does that, but this again for me is one of the reasons why actually getting out and having a walk is just, I can't watch Netflix while I'm walking around the park. Do you know what I mean? Just that cutting myself off from the head noise. Yeah, I think also probably because there's a lot of worries and anxiety at the moment as well over the whole situation, that maybe we're wanting to fill our minds up all the time with everything so that we don't actually have to stop and think about things that might be a bit more scary. So that can be a barrier to it as well, I suppose. Yeah, that's a very good point, Sal. That's the art of distraction. Distract yourself from having to think about stuff. We're very good at that.
Yeah, I'm very much. I used to talk to a friend of mine about, these different kind of psychological things, different types of personalities and things like that. And what are you and what are you? And I came up with I'm an optimistic ostrich. Okay, so I'm coining this new term. I'm an optimistic ostrich. So basically, what that means is I bury my head in the sand and just go, oh, it'll be okay, it'll be okay, it'll be fine, which isn't always a good thing or a good place to be. So I need to actually kind of maybe give myself some time to kind of think those things through.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go. Optimistic ostrich. If anyone wants to coin that phrase as an official title, you heard it here.
You heard it here first, right? Yeah. It sounds like a T-shirt slogan.
It does. I think you could happily have that for a present, Matt, if you wanted to sort that out. The other thing I wanted to pick up on from your talk was about the faith idea, and it really kind of resonated with me when you were talking particularly about science and things like that. And I think sometimes people expect you to be able to answer every single question to kind of prove that God exists, or to prove that Jesus is who he said he is. But actually that's not our job to do that. That's not what we need to do. What do you think about that?
No, I think you're right. I think, especially when you first become a Christian, one of the things I noticed, a lot of my friends were like, well, because I became a Christian when I was 18, right? So a lot of my friends were like, well, hang on a minute. What about ... What about ... And to be honest with you, we still get that now. What about ... That doesn't make sense, And I think it's a really interesting question. The Bible tells us, or Paul talks about how we should be ready to give a defense of our faith. To study out some of these questions, to be able to answer some of these questions. But I tell you now, I can't answer all the questions about science. I'm not that clever. I'm really, do you know what I mean? I've got a few basic things, so I'm comfortable with where I'm at. But this is the beauty of the Christian church. There are so many people that are scientists, for example, that are really good friends of mine, and I can go to them and I can talk to them about it, and I can ask them the questions, or I can study it out to get those questions answered. But I don't think as a Christian I'm ever afraid to not be able to answer somebody's question. Do you know what I mean? So if someone comes to me and goes, can God make a stone so heavy that he can't lift it? And you sit there and you kind of go, well, I don't know. And you go, it's okay to go, I don't know. And to be honest with you, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not going to change my life one little bit. So I think you're right. You don't need to know everything. I think that's a bit of a fallacy.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Brilliant. Just very quick then, before we move on to a really important question that someone's put in the comments, just very quickly tell us, Matt, how has Jesus changed your life since you answered that question for yourself to say that he was the Son of God? What difference would that have made? Could you sum that up in just 10 seconds for us, please?
Just a quick 10 seconds. You remember the old song, Amazing Grace? I once was blind, but now I see. It's that... it's that the simplicity of it is that I once was blind, but now I see. You could talk about that metaphorically. You could talk about it in so many different ways. But I think life, I don't know how different actually life is. Where am I in a different place to if I'd become a Christian? I just know I'm different. Do you know what I mean? And I respond to life differently. I once was blind, but now I see. And that's basically all I know. I was going one way in life and I had a worldview and a thought pattern. But now it's totally transformed and changed.
Okay, good answer, Matt. Well done.
Thanks.
Okay, so the most important question of the day from the comments, what's your favourite cheese?
That's a fantastic question. You know what? One of the things that every year, Dave and Julie Connolly, Dave's been on the podcast. He's been on the live stream before, right? And we've had Dave speak a number of times, and he's one of the founding pastors of Frontline. Such a top bloke. I love the man to bits, right? Every year for Christmas, him and Julie buy me a present. They buy these little cheeses, covered in wax, and they give me the gift every year. The joke's the same: Matt, here's your baby cheeses, right? And it's a great joke to say at Christmas. But this year, one of the cheeses they gave me was a sort of chili spiced cheddar cheese.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness, that was like eating a slice of heaven. That is my favorite cheese.
That sounds amazing. Do you want to hear a cheese joke?
Go for it.
Okay. What did the cheese say when it saw itself in the mirror?
I don't know, Sal. What did the cheese say when it saw itself in the mirror?
Hello, me. Sorry, it's a little bit of a throwback to the bad Christmas jokes. Sorry. I want you to know that if you put these things in the comments, we listen, we care about what you put in the comments. Sorry.
Gemma
My
just
credibility has just gone like through the bottom there. So sorry. Sorry.
And that was unscripted too. I love it.
Let's move on very quickly. We are going to move on to our catch up. So we love it when people send us in photos and little videos of what you've been doing in the week. And then every week, Josh will put them all together in a fabulous way for us. And then we can be a bit more connected with each other. So if you would like to send in something for next week, we would absolutely love that. So here's Josh with this week's catch up.
Hello and welcome to this week's Sunday Catch-Up. For those of you who don't know me, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Josh Edmondson. I am one of the core members of the team here at Crowd Church, and I am a student at the University of St Andrews, though as of late that really has been a virtual student rather than a physical student, which is a bit of a shame. For those of you who have never watched this part of the stream before, or if you've just never watched the stream before at all, welcome, it's wonderful to have you, but let me just quickly explain what Catch-Up is. Catch-Up is the part of the stream where members of the community send in videos and photographs of what they've been getting up to, and we put them on display so that everyone gets a feel for how everyone else is getting on. Over the past week, I have been doing a lot of this. Yes, that's right, the highly exciting activity that is chess puzzles. If you don't know, I'm a pretty big fan of chess. I'm trying to get better, and apparently one of the best ways to actually get better at chess is not necessarily to play chess, rather to do chess puzzles, and so I've been doing lots and lots of those over the past week. Highly exciting, I know. I also finished reading a novel in a series called The Stormlight Archive, which I've been working through for a little while. This book is almost 1,500 pages long, so it took a little while to get through, but I finished that. Excellent book, highly recommend the series. But that's enough for me. Let's get on to the catch-up videos. Great, thank you very much for sending those in. I always love seeing what you guys have been getting up to. If you would like to see your video on catch up, please do send them in to the church WhatsApp number. You can find that number on the bottom corner of the screen. We love having those videos in, and it's great being able to put them out there so that everyone, feels a little bit more connected. That's all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Josh, for that. And sorry about the never-ending Percy photos. This is my cat, my kitten that we got just before Christmas, and I just can't stop sharing pictures of him. So I do apologise. Let me know when it's getting really boring, and I will stop sending in pictures of Percy every week. But he is absolutely adorable and so funny. So they're going to keep going for a while. Please send us any pictures or short videos so that we can add them to the catch up. We'd love to see what you've been up to in the week. And as you can see, it doesn't need to be anything majorly exciting. That was just a few pictures of us on a walk. So yeah, if you've got some brilliant walks around the area to share, that would be lovely as well. Okay, so that just leaves me really to say thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's been lovely to have you along. Thank you for mentioning the comments as well. We'd love to see everything there. And as you can tell from the questions, we do actually listen to what you're saying. So keep commenting there. That's really helpful. So thank you for that. And also, if you would like any prayer or anything at all, then please WhatsApp us or go to the website and you can send us some email there. There's that handy WhatsApp number for you. Just come up down there. So, oh, no, down there. Everything's backwards. It's really strange. Okay, so next week, I'm actually doing the talk next week, and the title is, wait for it, Christians Are Hypocrites. So you won't want to miss that one. So please join us next week. Matt will be leading. I'll be doing the talk, and we'll be having some worship and catch up as well. In the meantime, please stay with us. We've got a couple of great worship songs coming up in the outro. So do stay with us for that. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you next week. So have a great week. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe and see you next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
God of goodness, anything less than all of you, anything less than your life-giving truth, can never satisfy my heart, can never satisfy my heart. Only in you do I have it all. Only in you, Jesus. Only in you do I have it all. Only in you, Jesus. Only in you, Jesus. God of goodness, anything less than all of you, anything less than your life-giving truth, can never satisfy my heart, can never satisfy my heart. Only in you do I have it all. Only in you, Jesus. Only in you do I have it all. Only in you, Jesus. How great you are, how great you are, how great and beyond measure. How great you are, how great you are, how great and beyond measure. How great you are, how great you are, how great and beyond measure. How great you are, how great you are, how great and beyond measure. I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. You're the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found.